Hey everybody, Nate Manahan here. We're about to go into the High Five episode that we recorded, actually yesterday because it's 1:17 Eastern Time AM on Tuesday morning, but we recorded it on Monday. We were going to go live, but things were going wrong. We were having all kinds of tech issues, and I've consolidated into about a 20-minute episode that I'm pretty sure has all the pieces that we wanted in there. That it took like 50 minutes to record, and we were having issues with our 3 locations and everything. So I hope you watch it, hope you enjoy, and hope you really learn, hey, you don't have to be scared of square. You don't have to be scared of square. You don't have to be scared of square either, but I said scared of square. I'm going to leave that in here. That's not an error. That's just me being tired at 1:17 in the morning. And I want you to realize that the team that is here at PaperTech, Brian, Danny, all the relationship managers, all of our support staff are ready and willing and have the assets at hand to help you beat square, I think, in every situation, and toast in most situations. There are a couple situations where they have a couple things that we're still working on and getting really a good spot with, but 95% of the time with toast and 100% of the time with square, we compete and we improve and we beat. And so listen to the next several minutes, and I look forward to hearing your feedback. If you have any feedback on the High Five or tips or tricks of things that you would like to learn about, email them to me at nmanahan@papertech.com. Thanks for putting up with a little bit. I think I cleaned everything up pretty much, but you're going to hear a couple times. You're going to see, or actually, if you're watching this video-wise, you're going to see us stutter like a little bit just because the internet wasn't working. I don't even know what it was. It was a Monday. It was a Monday after Thanksgiving. But we're getting this out, and thank you for watching. And if you haven't, if you're watching this right now and it's before 10 a.m. or 3 p.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday, today, make sure you've signed up, and the link is in the email that you just got this in for the webinar on 6POS. This is the biggest thing we've launched, and we're going to be emailing everybody here very shortly all the information and getting it on My PaperTech. But 6POS, man, you've got to make sure you know what's going on there. Thanks, and here you go. There we go. We're recording. It's Indianapolis, Indiana. I'm Nate Manahan, and I am wearing my Michigan wear today because it was one heck of a weekend. Michigan came out and beat Ohio State. My kids were born in 2004, 2006, and they've only seen 2 victories over Ohio State versus I had seen about 70% for the first part of my life. And now we're back on the table. We'll see what happens beating Iowa this next week. But we have much more important things to talk about. Maybe, maybe not. I need to ask Brian Linke. Brian Linke, how long, when you have a big win over Florida, which hasn't happened for a little while.
2 years, Nate.
Yeah, I know. Well, it just didn't happen. How long does that last for you?
My entire life. like I'll never get over it. Like it was the single worst day of my life on Saturday. So, I mean, is that what you're asking me?
That is what I'm asking you. So,
Nate, for putting me back into it. Okay, let's put it this way. Okay, as soon as the game was over, 6 o'clock, there were about 20 people in my house. I snuck upstairs, went to bed for the entire night. Didn't get out of bed until Sunday at like 3.
Well, I'm just saying I have been living high ever since, and I'm very thankful my Wolverines pulled it out, and we're coming to Indianapolis. I would have appreciated if my Wolverine fans, the cheapest ticket to get in the door is $500. I can't take 5 kids. I can't, or my 4 kids. At that price point. But I'm glad our people are hungry to bake here. We're going to treat a little Iowa to a good tasting here. And Denver Broncos yesterday. What's up, Mr. Danny Shard?
It was a great weekend in Broncos country for sure. But you know, I've somewhat become a pretty devout Seminoles fan due to my friend Brian Linke taking me to some games down in Tallahassee. So that was That was a really, really tough game to watch on Saturday. You know, it's something that I've learned being friends with Brian is I try not to communicate with him on Saturdays, especially if it goes the way that it went on Saturday. So sorry about the game, Brian, but it was still fun to watch.
Yeah, but I'm telling you right now, we are on the upswing, and better things are ahead. But it's gonna be a while for me to get over that one, if I ever get over it.
Well, it was a good weekend. Black Friday, incredible things. Small town, small business Saturday. We're in Cyber Monday as we record this, and but one of the things I want to ask us today is, How do we beat Square? Square is in the news all over. In fact, today we know that Jack Dorsey has resigned as CEO of Twitter. He was doing both jobs. I'm not sure exactly how that works when you're CEO of two publicly traded companies. And now will be just the CEO of Square. And Square is one of our competitors. It's one of those that we come across the most. They've grown from incredible places when they started in 2008, just as that little handheld device to be able to, move money back and forth. And they have the Cash App, and they've done their Square Capital and all kinds of things.
Right.
But is Square? It's probably our biggest competitor out in the field that none of us in the merchant services industry can touch. Personally, we can't sell it, right? Would you agree, Danny? Oh, Danny has muted himself.
Yep. Sorry. Yes, I would agree. I mean, Square's got great technology, and I've always said they're a worthy competitor. And if partners could sell it or could tie into it somehow, I think we would see a lot of integrations with Square. But it's just something that's not going to happen.
Yeah. So it's important to know how we can compete with Square. And I happen to know that Square and Toast are two competitors that you see around your area, Brian, the Warsaw, Indiana area. When you come across Square and Toast, what's the first question you ask people when you're selling merchant services? What are some of the questions you ask to try to start that conversation of getting them to switch from Square or Toast to one of our products?
Well, I'm not sure. I think the question you ask is, do you like the system? Isn't that the first question that you ask? And most of the time, unfortunately, people do like it. I mean, Toast has it's a great product. Square, it's a great product. The thing that those companies don't do though is they don't have, what I think is sells. You sell yourself, right? So like. When you're into a merchant and they're talking about Square or Toast or something like that, they're not talking to a person. Okay, so you're selling yourself. You're selling PayProTech, and we are competitive with them. We're just not. We're not them. So you just have to sell yourself.
And I think Brian's talking about how do you like the system. I focus like we're saying, Nate. I first thing I ask him is how do you like the support. Have you had people that come here and actually help you with the system? And what type of service do you get when you need help? The rates and fees are something that in our world we are so focused on, right? And for some strange reason, it appears that merchants with these solutions aren't necessarily focused on the rates and fees. They're focused on the technology. They're focused on the experience, the ease of boarding. I think that's a big thing that we're up against when we're talking about PayFacs and that entire process with these massive conglomerates like Square and Toast and things like that. Stripe is another one, right? And so we're really dealing with technology juggernauts that have made it so simple for merchants to get up and running, and it works really well, but they're missing a few key personal points that a lot of business owners want, and that's kind of where we come in. So I try to focus on the relationship side of it, and then the savings if we can, and obviously eliminating processing fees, which a lot of these companies still can't do. I think Square now gives the option to kind of do a workaround of cash discounts, if you will, but I'm not sure how many of those merchants even know about it. So it's something that I try to encourage partners to focus on that part of it, because that's where we stand out.
That is. And I think one of the things is you can say with confidence that you can do nearly everything Square does with a variety of our products, but we don't have just one product. We have many that are often focused on different sectors. That's part of what we're trying to communicate with like our 6 POS promotion. A lot of you have been through the webinar either last week or if you're watching this on Monday, the 29th, on the 30th, tomorrow at 10 a.m. and 3 p.m., we have the 6 POS webinars with Robert Kramer. Little bit of a plug. But as you're doing that, we're trying to say, hey, look, you have a plethora of amount of products, and you have products that are focused more on a niche instead of Square wanting to be a jack of all trades. It has a retail component. It has a hairdressing component. It has a hospitality. It does invoicing. Yes, it does all these things, but maybe it might be better for you to find something that does the things you need better. And one of the things about features is we can get tied into being one of everything, being able to do all the features, but maybe sometimes, Brian, how important is it for us to understand what are the main features that a merchant has when like competing against Toast? Toast does tons of things. Square does tons of things, but we have products that do things a lot of times better, maybe just a few features and don't have all the bells and whistles. Do you find that our partners need to really find what the merchants really want to get done and give them the best product to meet those needs, and maybe not, compete against all the things that Square does?
No.
Yeah.
No, because I think you'll lose. I mean, I think if that's what you're doing, you're trying to compete against companies like like Square and like Toast. I think you're going to lose. But like Danny said something. I said to the merchant, what is it you like about the system? I think the support, like Danny just talked about, is probably the thing you want to lead in with, because I guarantee they're not getting the support if the agent is actually doing his job or her job. They're not getting the support that you'd be getting that we're giving. I mean, that's just part of it, right? I mean, that's why you can't do this job from your couch or from your bed, because you have to get out there and talk to people.
Well, I think one of the things that sets us apart is that Square, now it does offer versions of surcharge and cash discount. Some it's a little, if you really want to know, you can search Square and cash discount and surcharging. You're going to find a bunch of articles on that. But they do offer it. But what they're never going to offer is a bunch of free equipment and an option for placement programs. And we have so many offerings when it comes to not having less or even no upfront costs that sets us apart. Danny, how does that really help and give an advantage and a foot forward when trying to compete against something like Square?
It's huge, right? And that's, kind of just to piggyback on what Brian was just answering too. And, something that he taught me is you got to know your audience, right? Like these systems, even like we'll talk about with 6POS, they do a variety of different things, and they can cater to a few different verticals, right? Depending on what the merchant's needs are. But know who you're talking to. Know what's going to trigger that merchant and what the system is that they're going to need. And then when you're talking about cost, right? A lot of small, medium businesses are sensitive to that. Not enough know about placement programs, even though hundreds of thousands, even millions of these merchants are working with ISOs like us that offer some type of credit or placement towards equipment and things like that. But so many are going with Square because they market very well, and because their friend down the street has it, and because it works very well, right? And they're a business, they know that they've got to pay for equipment, right? That's a standard. And so I think, the more that we can get out there, the more that you can talk to merchants and really generate a buzz, you're going to be able to show the key differentiators from Square. And that includes paying for equipment, where they can get a lot of equipment for free whenever partnering with somebody like us.
Right.
No, I think that is because what we've mentioned is, one, you can get better and just get support when you're going against Square. You're often buying, for those of you who are branded yourself and connected yourself to a community, and you're selling within a region or a neighborhood or a city, you can say, hey, we're buying local, which is a message that I think certainly communicates, especially when you're selling to independent and know your audience, as Brian says often. When you're selling to independent, store owners who are trying to make sure that people buy local instead of going to the big box stores. And then lastly, like we just said, you have a plethora of free equipment, especially with edge pricing, with cash discount pricing, where you can walk in and say, hey, you're doing $20,000 a month. I can get you $1,200 of equipment right off the top, and I'm going to get you the better equipment, the newest equipment, and you don't have to go out and buy it separately and then go in and log into Square. Our team's going to come in and set it up and do it. I think one of the things that sets, especially when you're going against Square, is their onboarding is very focused on you figure it out. Go watch the videos. Many of our systems, and even when we're talking about 6POS, they're actually going to help you get your inventory in. They're going to help you get set up and get ready. That's a huge burden taken off both the partner and the merchant. Brian, come in. All right, here we go. We're having fun here. We've had some technical difficulties as you're watching this. Hopefully, I've edited most of the technical difficulties off, but I'm going to go back to Brian. Brian, how are you so confident that our partners can, walk into any business and compete with Square? Why are you so confident of that?
Well, if you're a true salesperson, you're going in and you're talking, and I think one other thing is, when you're talking to merchants and you're competing against some of these companies that are, say it like it is. I mean, they're good, all right? I mean, Toast is a really, it's a nice solution. So is Toast. But if you're going in and you're selling yourself and you're listening to what your what your merchant is saying to you, and you're getting them to talk about themselves, okay, that opens up a whole lot of doors as far as selling anything. Not just point of sale systems, not just so people like to hear themselves talk. right? I hear that about myself all the time. So I mean, so if you can get in there and talk to people and get them to start talking, it will open the door for you to for you to sell just about anything. I mean, we could talk about anything, but I think that's probably the key.
And Danny, your last questions, we talk about Square. Why do you? I think there's often a fear of Square or maybe a fear of unknown. But what can you say to our partners to say, look, Square's not leaving the industry. They're certainly they're not going away. But I feel like we're gaining ground and they're not. Do you think I'm right? And what would you say to our partners to encourage them that, hey, things are getting better? They passed us for a little while, but we're catching up.
Yeah, and I mean, I think we've talked about it before, but it's, Square and companies like Square, but I think Square is the elephant in the room, if you will, especially with merchants that we cater to, is they've really driven our business forward from the way that we think, how we approach merchants with pricing scenarios, with equipment. And yeah, I mean, the way that Square came in and kind of flipped the industry on its head and did it their way and got merchants thinking and really simplifying it, right? Like Nate, Brian, and I, we've all talked about trying to simplify the process, simplify the conversation. And when we think about that, we're really, that's being based off Square's approach, and really what they kind of have created is simplifying the entire conversation of merchant services, right? But so, yeah, Nate, I think we're getting better. I think with all the different solutions that we offer, which we've never had before, we continue to offer them. Like we're rolling out a couple new POS systems here in December, and then another one in early next year. But there's, we're trying to stay on the forefront of it and continue to offer the most up-to-date technology to our partners and to merchants, and compete with Square. They're not going away. They are getting bigger and better in some ways too, though, right? They've added a lot of POS systems and a lot of different verticals that they've never focused on before, right? Square started as a mobile merchant and as a mobile option. Then they had their POS, and now if you go on to their website, you'll find that there's 5 or 6 different options for Square, depending on what type of merchant it is. They've also updated their pricing, which kind of creates a little bit more of a level playing field for us, where they just tried to grab a bunch of market share and do 275 on everything. Now they're getting smarter. They're doing customized pricing structures, but they're also adding transaction fees and making it not as appealing to any merchant to sign up with them and go with someone like us with flat rate pricing and things like that. So they've made it easier to compete with, I'll say that, without being so simplified on their solutions and not so simplified on their pricing like they once were. And that's where we step in with the human factor.
That is absolutely what's important. As we close up, we want you to know that you can compete in the market against Square. And as we're going into holiday season, certainly sales are a little bit down in the merchant services world, but they're not done. And the work that you're putting in right now is starting us out to get us ready to go to 2022. We're almost there. We're getting ready. December 1st is this Wednesday. We got a lot of work to do. We got a lot of energy to do, but we also want to have some fun in the holiday season. Brian Linke, what do you say to our partners as we get ready for holiday season 2021?
Going back to the Square conversation real quick. Okay, there's always going to be competition in anything you sell. I mean, if you're a salesperson, you're going to be competing with someone, something. There's going to be a product or products that you're going to always be competing against. So, invest in yourself. Okay, come brand with us, right, Dan? Come brand with us. Invest in yourself and start working every single day. And stop worrying about, what this company is doing, what that company is doing. Of course, it's to your benefit to learn what the competition is doing. But to be scared of the competition, that's just not in me. So I don't even know what that is. Yeah, you're right. I mean, December, sure. A lot of people, yeah, it's slower, this, that, the other thing. Okay, sure, fine. But you know what? Every day, get up and do something, and it'll pay off in the long run.
Absolutely. And Mr. Danny Shard, what say you?
Man, I love everything that Brian just said. I mean, this is a time of year to start thinking about next year, right? You've got a month here, usually a little bit slower. A lot of businesses aren't looking to necessarily make changes this month, but they're looking to make changes that they're going to start into next year. But then investing in yourself, right? It's a big time to do that. We've got a lot of programs to help expand what you're doing right now as a partner, whether it's into different verticals or thinking differently or adding a team, just going after things a little bit differently in 2022. And I think it's the right time to do it. So reach out to us. Let us help you. Take advantage of this time during the holiday season, and what might be downtime in sales can be uptime, investing in yourself and looking at things and different approaches that you can do going into next year.
Absolutely. On that, I say high five, everybody, and we'll see you next time on the High Five.